approximately 2 minutes. Please begin taking your seats at this time and turn off or silence your cell phones. Military guests may remain covered throughout the ceremony. Gentlemen, welcome to the retirement ceremony for Petty Officer Everett, commemorating 21 years of faithful service. We are honored to have you with us today. Side boys, post. Will the guests please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing until after the playing of our national anthem and invocation. Lieutenant Commander, United States Navy, arriving. Petty Officer, Everett, arriving. Color Guard, parade the colors.
Color Guard, attention, carry, colors. Forward, march. Mark time, mark. Left turn, march. Ready. Halt. Present. Mark.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Color Guard, retire the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Dan Dodd will now deliver the invocation.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for all that this room and this ceremony means. We thank you for our country. We thank you for the many who serve and protect. We thank you for Aaron and his many, many years of sacrifice and service and hard work and dedication. And God, we pray that this ceremony, first and foremost, brings honor and glory to you and honors Aaron for his many years and just gives the glory and the light to you. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Will the official party and guests please be seated? Good morning. I'd like to welcome all of you to this special occasion marking the retirement of Petty Officer Everett. We are gathered this morning to witness the final stages in your 21 years of military career. We are also gathered to say thank you to a good shipmate. Thanks for the many contributions within their own unique way have made our Navy a stronger and more capable force in our never-ending fight for peace in this sometimes troubled world. Thanks for being the type of leader that has ensured that the next generation of sailors are ready to meet the challenges of tomorrow. Just as this is the end of one phase in his life, it is the beginning of another. So our gathering today also gives us the opportunity to wish him every success in the future as he looks forward to the new challenges and rewards. I extend the especially warm welcome to Petty Officer Everett's wife, Colleen, his children, Charlotte, Evangeline, and Anna Rose, and his brother, Brandon. I know that you, more than any of us, are vividly aware of the sacrifices that Petty Officer Everett has made in his service to our country. And I speak from the entire command when I say how pleased we are to have him here today. Now please join me in welcoming the presiding officer, Lieutenant Commander Daniel Babsky, clinical operational psychologist, Submarine Base, Group 10.
Greetings and welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. Aaron, thank you for having me. Before I begin speaking, a couple things. Usually when I talk, I'm very dynamic. I walk around a lot. I'm not going to do that today. I'm also going to read a little bit more than be more focused, because the words I wrote down are very important, and I don't want to miss a single one. Okay? Also, please bear with me if I get a little emotional. It's a very important day. A very important day for you, Aaron. A very important day for your family. So if I tear up, just please bear with me, okay? To quote Ulysses S. Grant, "Adversity can strengthen friendships." And man, did you and I experience some immense pressures in our time together in the Navy. See, I first met Aaron aboard CVN 73, the USS George Washington. The ship, dry docked. Very austere condition. It had extensive delays due to COVID and other external factors. The crew overall was proud, professional, and well-weathered due to the dry dock environment and the command workload. And at the heart of that command was medical. A diverse, proud division that had limited manning and what felt like tasking that would not diminish. Medical had numerous responsibilities within its complex setting. Aaron, a CS by rate, He was the head of the substance abuse rehabilitation program as a counselor, a program I had the honor of leading. Aaron was full of passion, with a spark to immerse himself into the mental health field and grow his skill set as a counselor. Carl Rogers, a pioneer in the counseling field, expressed that a caregiver needs to have unconditional positive regard for their patients to assist with positive change in their life. Aaron, he expressed this orientation daily with the members he provided service for. In that setting, Aaron was constantly invested in assisting and helping people make positive changes, a true Navy model for honor, courage, and commitment. Now, this type of work is challenging and has a high burnout rate due to the emotional toll it takes from you. As a caregiver, I can recall a memory when Aaron was tested. Due to Aaron's passion for caregiving and learning, I encouraged him to provide mental health services outside the SARP roles by performing mental health coping skill sessions, safety checks, intakes, and assisting with duty medical after hours. One evening, Aaron was leading the charge, and his professionalism was tested. A member came in reporting mental health symptoms way after hours. Aaron, the caregiver that he is, gave a detailed case formation to me over the phone. Now, it appeared based on the reporting pathology that some of those factors may not be present, or there could be some things going on in the background. So I encouraged him to ask a little bit more question-based questions. You see, Aaron and I differ in terms of case understanding. I like to consider all the factors that are leading to the symptoms. Aaron is very humanistic. In case formation, he believed that everyone is genuine and has wonderful intentions. Going back to Carl Rogers. This makes him a wonderful caregiver. I would often joke that he would report that someone stubbed his toe and they need immediate evaluation and service. That was the caring nature of him, committed to helping and courageous to advocate for care always. Going back to my story. So Aaron asked follow-up questions like we talked about. Back and forth it went a few rounds between he and I, and eventually it appeared that the member did not want to go back to duty, and maybe there was something else going on. Aaron proclaims, I'm keeping this PC now. Aaron proclaims, all right, now I'm getting frustrated with them, in simpler words. That's what's great about Aaron. He was aware of his emotions and his caregiver roles. That is something special. Aaron had unconditional positive regard for everybody, no matter the circumstance. His character was always reflected in making things better, caring for others, and fulfilling the mission. He stayed extra hours, took on increased duty roles. Heck, he lived at the clinic and on the ship. I would often say to him, what are you doing here? Constantly. What are you doing here? And why would I say that? Because he's on leave. And he would just say he needs to ensure things are taken care of and his people were taken care of. That's Aaron, a model for honor, courage, and commitment. Speaking of his character, he has a strong bond to his culinary ethics. Fun story on that, on the G-Dub. I would often ask him on the ship to get me crinkle fries. They put a little sugar, salt, and pepper. It wasn't much, but on the ship it was glorious, okay? And I would start calling them crinks for slang. And I would say, let me get them crinks, okay? He would go on and on. This is true. I would get a story. He would go on and on about how it is unethical for him to sneak food away from the galley, and he needs to follow his ethics. Very respectable. Very. Okay, got it. Then, 5 minutes later, I see him and a few others taking a brand new unopened bag of potato chips and they hold it so it don't open, and they're just crushing it. Crushing it. You start to, why would you do that, right? Why would you do something like that, okay? See, we know why they're doing that? Because that belonged to our senior enlisted in medical. That's why they're doing that, okay? Where's this ethics you speak of, okay? I'm sorry, now Master Chief Duncan. Aaron and the crew got you again. In fact, Aaron's commitment to the Navy is intoxicating. He prides himself in always being available, whether it be for command, patience, or any needs even outside his roles. He illustrates this deep commitment. Reminds me of the countless times he would call me late at night for a case review, safety concerns. I would say, Aaron, what are you doing on the ship? Because he wasn't on duty. He had no reason to be there. And he would go on a rant about how he needs to get his notes done, patient cases reviewed, and making sure SHARP is set up for success. That's Aaron, committed to helping the mission and people. Aaron demonstrated courage in a way that some might say is even irrational. Aaron had a large responsibility on the ship leading SARP, caring for patients, assisting me with the mental health team. Aaron, the committed person he is, then he decides that he also wants to lead the CSs in supply on top of his responsibilities. Now, Aaron leads the supply division, pushing his bandwidth to the point of little room to give. He was stressed with the demands. Anybody would. However, he performed that role flawlessly, and all to give back to the CS community, culinary community. Committed, and demonstrated his agile leadership within SARP, the supply CS field. This is Navy leadership at its finest, being in charge of numerous diverse fields and taking collateral duties that pushes the Navy forward even when you don't have to. Now, his honor, courage, and commitment is not without sacrifice. Aaron spent countless hours serving his country, all while being away from his family. His family, the ones who sacrificed the most in the military, don't have him for important family matters, appointments, events, even holidays. The Everett family, your sacrifice is not without cause. Because of those missed times, as hard as they were, Aaron was leading the charge, helping patients, providing care that changed and saved lives. And for that, I and the United States Navy thank you. Aaron, your unique character has pushed the Navy forward, made people better, and you've healed those in need. Your future is bright, and you have the tools to change the world in any setting you take your talents to. Now, it's time to bask in your family. No more deployments. Hopefully no more 12-hour-plus working days. And no more PCSing periodically. The future is now about stability, bonding, and increasing the time with those you love. I am honored to have served with you and hopeful for the wonderful future endeavors you will have. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Commander Babsky. During the retirement ceremony, it is also customary for those who have served with the retiree to tell stories of their service together. Today, we welcome Petty Officer Everett's guest speaker, HMC Pete Marcello.
Good morning, everybody. Before I start, I would like to thank everybody for coming out today to pay homage and celebrate the 21 years of service that Aaron has given to the United States and to the Navy. My friend, I know the journey has been long. It's been full of trials and tribulations, but here we go. You're there. right? You're sitting on this stage surrounded by your family, your friends, the people you've served with, the people you've taken care of, and I thank you. So originally when Aaron asked me to be his guest speaker, and by asked, I mean he texted me like a true millennial, right? He said, hey, you want to be the guest speaker at my retirement? My response to him was rather simple. Clean, semi-clean, or be myself. His response was, well, it's going to be in a church, and my children will be present. To that I say, and I didn't respond this in the text because I wanted to say it personally, number one, God knows my heart and my mouth, and your children don't, and I fully understand that, so I will try and keep this as PG as possible. But that message that he sent me was very poignant about who Aaron was as a man. He's a man of faith, and I know that he gives a lot of time to the church. I know he spends a lot of time being a youth pastor and doing several good deeds for the church. And I know at the core of who he is his family. And all the times that I've seen you stressed out and worried about the ship, I know that they were always on your mind. I remember distinctly one day, I'm sitting in my office, and you're in yours or running around somewhere, medical, SARP, the bathroom, I don't know. I get a message on my phone, and it's from your wife. And I'm looking at my phone, and I'm like, why is Colleen texting me? So then I go answer it, and she's like, hey, Pete, do you know where Aaron is? I really need to talk to him. And I'm like, I don't know, but I'll go find him. Give me a second. So I run around the department, and I try and find him. Eventually I do. I think he's probably in Senior Chief's office trying to plot some mischievous deed. Or with Turtle, again, plotting some mischievous deed because he never worked. I'm just joking. And I told you that your wife's trying to call, and you immediately took off, ran. I was like, I don't know what she's calling for. And I think that was around the time when we first started having problems with your thyroid. And I can see the love and the concern in your face at that moment. And I told you, look, we'll tell Senior, you got to go. Just go. It's one of the things that stands out in my mind when I think about you. So I get the privilege to stand up here and talk about you. And I could pretty much do that in any place in this room because you'd probably still see me. A lot of people that I told that I was coming down here to do be your guest speaker for your retirement had a lot of great things to say about you. I told you that Aaron Paul, Senior Chief Paul, wish you all the greatest luck and prosperity. Jade, Millar, Master Chief Duncan, even Turtle. Right, and we refer to Turtle because that's his nickname from the boat, Aaron. Aaron and Turtle decided one day that they were going to make belt buckles for our senior enlisted leader. This is after I left the boat, and I'm kind of mad they did it after I left the boat because I would have definitely loved to have seen it. But it had the 4 Ninja Turtles and Master Splinter. And Paul, I think, has been in the Navy since the Constitution was at sea. And we constantly reminded him of that. He loved to give us his renditions of the Farmer's Almanac every Friday, telling us about the weather and what not to do during the weekends. So we lovingly referred to him as Grandpa or Master Splinter. Aaron loves to tell this story about how he wrote up a citation and made it sound as professional as possible, which is classic Aaron because even in jokes he wants to make it sound as professional and perfect as it can possibly be. I think your OCD gets in the way and you just deny it, right? My friend, we've shared many stories through our time together. I remember distinctly sitting on board the USS George Washington, a ship that Aaron loved so much he extended for and then even volunteered to go back TAD after he left. I remember being on duty, having to answer a phone that would never stop ringing because people got the sniffles and wanted to go on ROM. I remember that we answered or had to read off of a script that was probably a page and a half long, but because we read it so much over the course of COVID that we all had it memorized. I remember you distinctly giving certain patients nicknames when they called. I won't repeat any of those here. I distinctly remember we had a patient who said that they were a close contact to a positive. That positive was his sister, who came to visit him while she was on leave. Aaron, being Aaron and always the investigator, asked the member to send him proof that this person was actually a positive. And they did. And it was very convincing proof. It was a picture of a positive test. But as you looked at this picture, you kind of noticed some indiscrepancies. Noticeably, the copious amount of hair on the knuckles of the person holding the test. Which Aaron, again being Aaron, decided that he would investigate and reverse search the picture to find out that it was in fact the picture from a member, I don't even know if they were a member, but somebody who was in jail, and it was a dude, not his sister. Aaron, being as professional as he could, informed his chain of command, who then decided to call the member in, and Aaron, again, being as professional as he can, decided to ask him very poignant questions, being as calm as he could, until said member decided that he wanted to stick to his guns and lie to him, which then caused Aaron to lose his ever-loving mind, which is a scary thing because I'm pretty sure his eyes focused solely on that one individual for the duration of that conversation. Because if there's one thing I know, when he's really paying attention to something, he gets laser focused, and then he drifts. But that's okay. I remember a time when Nicole, your fellow counselor, was complaining about how Aaron got along with everyone. I remember her sitting in the office and she's like, Aaron, I can't talk to you right now because I just want to bitch. Sorry. I'm trying to keep this PG, but it just slips. And you just want to be so nice. My friend, the energy that you brought to the department, although annoying at times, was much appreciated. It brought levity to a lot of different situations. And even though I hated standing duty with you because every time we stood duty, we would get at least, at a minimum, 3 medical emergencies. I think your record was, what, 5? Right? For those of you who've never served time on a ship, a medical emergency is when some patient goes down somewhere and we have to respond. And it was always on Aaron's duty days that we would have the most medical emergencies. I don't know how one person could bring so much black cloud to a duty day, but it had to have been a CS. First of all, I don't know why we had a CS in medical. He never once brought us food. Ethics, again, right? I've never seen him cook. I don't even know if he knows how. Every time I call him in the evening, he says, I gotta cook dinner. And then he's telling me I'm going to go pick up dinner. Dinner doesn't get cooked through Uber Eats, my friend. It doesn't happen. It's debatable, yeah. Aaron has so many points at Chick-fil-A that he could probably furnish his entire retirement ceremony and still have time for breakfast and dinner tomorrow. I still remember your order at McDonald's because I would call Aaron every morning when I would go to work. Those phone calls meant so much to me, and we'll talk about that later. Number 2 was a Dr. Pepper. Who drinks Dr. Pepper at 7 o'clock in the morning? Right? Drink coffee like a normal person. Jesus, man. There was a meme that we saw one time where this guy would roll up to a window at a drive-thru and he would always say yurt, and the people behind the window would always say $5.75 because they already knew his order. That was Aaron. right? I think they had him on camera when they saw his car come up. They would already start preparing his food. And they'd be like, hey, Aaron, how you doing? I hope you have a great day. Come on around. We got your food for you. So one day I started a little game because Aaron never turned his phone down. And I would always yell, ice cream. I want ice cream. I want ice cream. And it would always confuse, at first it would always confuse the people because they would hear it and be like, do you want ice cream too? It's 7 o'clock in the morning, fat ass. Sorry. I'm trying really hard. That then progressed to when Aaron would drive through the gate in the morning, I would always scream over his speaker, I'm in the trunk. Which then freaked him out because he thought he was going to get shot. We all have that one friend that we can't have on speakerphone because we're always worried that they're going to say something out of pocket. Aaron, my friend, I'm glad you're that friend for me. And I'm glad to be that friend for you. Because there's been several times where he's called me and my parents were in the car and I had to remind him, hey, my parents are in the car. Or he would call and tell me that his kids are in the car. And then I kind of knew that, oh, I can't say the things that I want to say. Or complain about my day. Speaking about complaining about my day, I mentioned that we call each other every day when I would drive to work. And those phone calls meant a lot to me. They kept me awake on my drive to work. So they prevented me from driving off the road and hitting somebody else, which is a good thing. So great public service. You should have put that on your eval. But you allowed me to express myself, much like you've done for, I'm going to pull it together, I swear. There's something in the air that's got my eyes all watery. It's my allergies. And I've seen you do that so many different times for so many different people. Doc Babsky talked a lot about your clinical skills, the compassion that you had for your job and everything that it is that you did. You've touched so many lives. Many of them are sitting out in this crowd right now. You spent so much time away from your family, and now it's time for you to spend time with them. And call, I'm sorry if he doesn't do the things that you want him to do, like his honey-do list. If he doesn't, just punch him in the eye. He has one bad one anyway, so he'll be good. I challenge you, my friend, to grow your hair out, grow a beard. It'll probably become in patchy, much like your eyesight. Yes, I got more. They're locked and loaded. I'm just refraining. You will? I'm glad. I know these past few months have been extremely stressful for you. I know you well enough to know when you're stressed because I can hear it in your voice. I can see it in your actions even though you're on the phone. I know you've had a lot going on. PCSing from the Navy or from the military after 21 years of service is not an easy task. We've talked ad nauseum about that. We've talked about the support that you get when you join, but the support that you get when you leave is something that's very much lacking. To that I say, you will always have my support. I will always be here for you. I drove 8 hours down here, shaved, and put my uniform on a Saturday for you. I get the privilege of calling you my friend, but more so, you're my brother. I appreciate everything that you've done for me. I appreciate everything that you've done for the lives that you've touched. And with that being said, I want to present you with a small token of my appreciation. And if you don't know, Aaron is from Detroit. I don't know very many people from Detroit. I didn't know they actually had people there. The Lions don't even really play there because they don't really play. But my gift to Aaron Yes, I'm giving him a gift, but I'm not quite done yet. I would now like to hijack the ceremony slightly, and there's a certain somebody who I would like to ask to come to the stage because they have a few slight words to say and a gift to present.
Well, we drove 10 hours and we don't fit in our uniforms anymore, so. So, Aaron, Tom's going to give you the backstory of this.
So, hold it here so this here, of course, like, you know, many of us military people or people that aren't in the military, is to display all your challenge points. And I know with all the travel that you've gotten around the world and all the different places you went, you've gotten plenty of travel challenge points, so it's to display it. But this is something special in the fact of that in 2014, they rehabbed the Vice President's residence, which Aaron was stationed there working with us then. This is actually made from the recycled wood from the actual Vice President's residence. So the whole backstop is mahogany from there. There's actual pinpoints of where nails were. On the back side is where a hinge was put on there. And then you can see some of the white, because Bill Schumann, good old Bill, who kept the Vice President's residence together the entire time that we were there, planed this down and did that. The front, we'll fix that. And then these rails are actual cherry wood from his father's homestead. And then the back side here is actually from the oak wood floor there at the Vice President's room. And then the top little brass piece is an actual latch from the windows in the sunroom.
So, Aaron, like the flaws in the wood, it was sort of like the flaws in all of us. But when you put us together and all of the wood, it was seamless. And so, 10 years removed, retired, I still can look back and smile and laugh at all of the wonderful moments we had on the road, at the residence, and just being an integral part of our life. And Colleen, thank you for sharing him with us and the girls. Thank you so much. I will forever look back on my years at the Vice President's residence with you with a smile. So thank you. And we'll fix that. Is that too flawed?
Thank you, Chief Marcello. Lieutenant Commander Babsky will now present Petty Officer Everett with his retirement award. Petty Officer Everett, front and center. Will the guests please rise? Military attention to award. The Department of the Navy has awarded Culinary Specialist First Class Aaron Everett the Commendation Medal, Gold Star in lieu of third award, meritorious achievement while serving as leading petty officer of the Ancillary Department, Navy Medicine Readiness and Training Unit, Kings Bay, Georgia, from July 2022 to April 2025. Petty Officer Everett led 54 personnel in support of 6,800 beneficiaries and 25 tenant commands. As the Substance Abuse Rehabilitation Program Manager, he delivered 893 hours of care, enabling 56 sailors to return to full duty, supporting fleet readiness. His leadership yielded 7 promotions, 17 personal awards, and 100% retention rate. Petty Officer Everett's superior performance to duties culminated in his 21 years of honorable and dedicated naval service. Petty Officer Everett's exceptional professionalism, unrelenting perseverance, and loyal dedication to duty reflected credit on him and were in keeping with the highest traditions of United States Naval Service. Signed, 16 June 2025, Captain Mallory. Will the guests please be seated? Petty Officer Everett will now present his family with their retirement certificates and letters. I will now read the spouse retirement certificates and children's letters of appreciation and brother. Certificate of Appreciation from the United States Navy. By the authority invested in me, it is my pleasure to express the grateful appreciation of the United States Navy to you for enduring the frequent and long separations from your husband, father, and brother as he served this country. These months, indeed years, that he spent away from you constitute a clear and noble demonstration of his love for you and his family. You see, he left you to ensure that you inherited a safer world, a surer peace. To those who say a single person cannot make a difference, I say wrong. Your husband, father, and brother did. He made our Navy stronger and kept our nation safe. With his service to the Navy now complete, he will be able to spend more time with you in the future. The United States Navy thanks all of you for enduring these separations. The ceremony you're about to witness honors our nation's most cherished symbol of freedom, the Stars and Stripes, where the flag will ceremoniously be passed from one sailor to the next in the honor guard formation. Petty Officer Everett will now be presented with the flag of the United States Navy. Flag detail, post. I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop of the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over great institutions of learning. I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am arrogant, I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head's a little higher, my colors a little truer. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshiped, I am loved, and I am feared. I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years. Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Argonne Forest, Anzio, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, in the jungles of Guam, Okinawa, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, in the Persian Gulf, and a score of other places long forgotten by all, except those who were there with me. I was there. I led my soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. I followed them and watched over them. They loved me. I was on a small hill in Iwo Jima. It was dirty, battle-worn, and tired, but my sailors and Marines cheered me, and I was proud. I was on Ground Zero in New York on September 11th as cowardly fanatics attacked America. I was raised from the ashes of once proud buildings by brave firefighters, heroes who risked their lives to save others, showing all that America, although bloodied, would never be beaten. Those who would destroy me cannot win, for I am a symbol of freedom, of one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on in the streets of my own country that I have helped set free. It does not hurt, for I am invincible. I have been soiled, burned, and torn, and trampled on in the streets of my own country. And when it is done by those I have served with in battle, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the bonds of earth, and I am from the vantage point of the moon. I stand watch over the uncharted new frontier of space. I have been a silent witness to all those of America's finest hours, but my finest hour comes when I have been torn into strips to be used by bandages for my wounded comrades. On the field of battle, when at half-mast, to honor my soldiers, sailors, and Marines. And when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving mother at the gravesite of her fallen son or daughter, I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave, dear God, long may I wave. Petty Officer Everett will now present his wife and family with flags from hospitals they were born at. Walter Reed National Medical Center, Fort Belvoir Community Hospital, and Baptist Anderson Regional Medical Center. Petty Officer Everett will now be presented with the shadow box on behalf of the Navy Medicine Readiness and Training Unit, Kings Bay, Georgia, first classes. The shadow box has become a traditional retirement gift throughout the military. Each item in the shadow box reflects one significant facet of Petty Officer Everett's service to his country. Included in the shadow box is a list of his duty stations, insignias for promotion, medals, and campaign ribbons, with which the Navy has recognized him for his service. Last, but perhaps most importantly, a national ensign signifies his 21 years of faithful service. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you Petty Officer Everett.
Wait 1 second, let me pull up my speech here. You got jokes? So, well, at this point, it's still good morning. I want to start by saying thanks. First, to my faith, thanks to God and Jesus for watching over me over 21 years, guiding me and protecting me in all I've done and all I've been through. Thank you to the soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen that I've served with. It has been a pleasure
especially when things were not always the best. It was always the people that made it easier to get through. Thinking to my friends, whether from before I joined or after, specifically to those friends that I had before I joined, though, all of you have been kept close to my thoughts and prayers, despite me not always being the best at staying in touch. To my aunts, uncles, and cousins, it always feels like yesterday we were in Grandma Mooch's house for Christmas. Brandon opening up all the pop, and us being so shocked when we got a Nintendo after our mom had passed. Nintendo Entertainment System, for those of us that are old enough. Next, I want to thank you, Brandon. It's been a long time. I've enjoyed growing closer to you over the years and still think about the scars we accumulated along the way. Like the one I still have on my hand from when I backhanded you across the face. Speaking of kids, to my wonderful children, watching each one of you come into this world, and there were life-changing experiences. I'm grateful for all you guys have endured over these years. And I hope the adversities we face just make you stronger, because I know we've had them. And last but certainly not least, to my lovely wife, Kyle. The past nearly 14 years of being married have been beyond what I could imagine. You have supported me when things were hard, provided me with a place of refuge when I wanted to retreat from the world, and pushed me to become a better version of myself day after day. Thank you so much for the love you give, especially in the times when I would be too hard on myself. I love you, and I look forward to this next chapter with you. So as a disclaimer, I set out this speech in my mind. As I set out with the speech in my mind, I thought about working different quotes into it. Then I thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't. But, well, as the Borg say, resistance is futile. Almost 22 years ago, my recruiter came to get me. It was on my birthday, and he walked in. He looked at me and he said, "Happy birthday," followed by, "Get in the car." And I swore the next day. And since then, I've been parts of the world I never thought I would go to, some I don't want to go back to. I've met innumerable people and accomplished more than the wide-eyed kid I was when I joined could have imagined possible. My first command took me to Okinawa, literally on the opposite side of the planet. My first time on my own, away from everything, no family, no friends to speak of at that point. And then 3 years later, after having met a friend of mine at the time, EA1, Anthony Johnson, he was a CB, and he talked to me about CB Battalion and decided to get me to it. So I ended up going to NMCB 74. With them is where I deployed to Kuwait, Afghanistan, and Spain. It was also at that command that I met my wife, which made all the hard times of that command worth it. And looking back, I wouldn't change any of it. While I was there, I got the chance to interview for a position in D.C. Of course, at the time, I was missing a front tooth, much to the surprise of the folks conducting the interviews. It was there that I really got to travel and see what the world has to offer. As the great philosopher Lao Tzu once tweeted, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step." And had I not taken the step to interview for that position, I would have missed out on so much. And I do want to pause here to give another thanks, specifically to those I was there with, for Tom and Sarah, for the other sailors that we were with, and even to former President Biden and Dr. Biden. All of your guys' support when my dad passed was greatly appreciated and made working through that so much easier. Once I left DC is when I got into the substance abuse counseling program, something I never knew the Navy existed, but I'm glad we have it. I learned so many skills from that school, from how to communicate with others to how to be honest with myself. Then, getting to Meridian, Mississippi, I had a chance to put all that into practice. I also got to experience the need to execute travel orders with only 18 hours notice, despite a upcoming trip to Disney, and having to go home at noon to tell my wife that I was getting ready to leave for at least 2 months. Fun times. But I am grateful for my time there as I was able to make some lasting friendships that I'll carry with me into the next chapter. Once I got to my next command, the USS George Washington, which you guys have heard lovely things about so far, I can say I faced quite literally the hardest part of my career and of my life. Thankfully, I had the wonderful friendships to suffer through it together with. Pete, I'll never forget us being 7 decks down at 2 in the morning, having to belay a patient up to the hangar bay with Vasquez and his pink hoodie. Or Doc Babsky, constant attempts to get me to break my culinary ethics and steal him some crinkle cut fries. Or better yet, the time Senior Chief, now Master Chief Duncan, asked H1 Pitts why he had the guy with one good eye help him hang something up on the bulkhead. I still don't think it was crooked. People beg to differ. I think a good quote to sum up how I got through that tour is from everyone's favorite short-memoried fish, Dory, from Finding Nemo, who enthusiastically, when faced with adversity, said, "Just keep swimming, just keep swimming." And looking back, all the adversity was worth it for so many reasons. And finally, I transferred to Kings Bay, a place that in many ways was a perfect end to a career. Despite the difficulty I faced adjusting from operational command to ashore duty, I made the most of it. I want to give a big shout out to retired Senior Chief Jen Grieve, who had walked the same path of a counselor on a carrier, going from mile a minute to a much slower pace. It is also there that we found this wonderful church filled with great people. And moving on from this has been a difficult thing for us because the fellowship was so meaningful and deep regardless of the short time here. So thank you guys who are members of this church. Dan, thank you for making it out. We appreciate all your guys' support. Now though, no speech about the Navy would be complete without a Jaws quote. I told Kyle I'd get one in here. The one that comes to mind for where I'm going with this is by Quint, who said, "Cage goes in the water, you go in the water, shark's in the water, our shark." And that's sometimes how it feels, being in the water surrounded by sharks, hoping that a cage can protect you. In reality, though, I've learned the cage is what's holding you back. And when you resolve to break free of it, you'd be surprised what you can accomplish. And it won't always be easy. It will be difficult, and it will test you. But, as JFK once said in Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies mode, "Do not pray for easy lives, my friends. Pray to be stronger men." And this is my charge to the newer sailors. Continue to push yourselves, grow, and put yourselves to be in a better position. Surpass me. Learn not only from my successes, but even more from my mistakes, which have been plentiful. I ask this because, as I've said to other sailors before, if my kids join the Navy, you all will be their second classes, first classes, chiefs, or officers. I will be entrusting them to your care and your leadership. And I feel peace with that as I leave the Navy. So once again, thank you, all of you, even those who aren't here, those who may be watching online, those who may see this at some point in the future. The ways I've been supported through my career and to this moment, at the twilight of it, will never be forgotten. Thank you all for coming out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Dan Dodd will now deliver the benediction.
Let's pray. God, again, we thank you that we get to be here today, that we get to stand here today. We thank you for all that that means, the many, many years, the many sacrifices, the many hardships, the many adversities that were pushed through, and all the hard work that brought us here. Thank you for Aaron. Thank you for his service, his life, and his love for people and his care. Thank you that it's so evident and so seen how you have gifted him and made him. And I pray for him in this transition. I pray for him as he finds a new community, a new people to love and care for in new and different ways. And I pray that you give him wisdom. I pray that you lead him. I pray that you guide him. I pray that you strengthen him to continue to do what you've called him to do. Pray for the Everett family as they all transition, as they adapt to this new way of life and this new community, these new systems and everything, a new day to day. And just pray that you give them strength. Pray that you give them peace. Pray that you guide them and lead them. And I pray that through all of that, you bring them closer and closer together and closer to you as well. We're so thankful for them and thank you for today. Pray this in your name. Amen.
Petty Officer Jones will now read the watch.
All right, for 21 years, this sailor has stood the watch. While some of us were in our bunks at night, this sailor stood the watch. While some of us was in the school learning our trade, this shipmate stood the watch. Yes, even before some of us were born into this world, this shipmate, he stood the watch. In those years when the storm clouds of war were seen brewing in the horizon of history, this shipmate, he stood to watch. Many times he could cast an eye ashore and see his family standing there, needing guidance and help, needed a hand to hold during those hard times. But he still stood to watch. He stood to watch for 21 years. He stood to watch so that we, our families, and our fellow countrymen could sleep silently and safely with each other every night, knowing that a sailor stood to watch. Today, we are here to say, shipmate, the watch stands relieved by those you have led, guided, and trained. Petty Officer Everett, you stand relieved. We have the watch. Bosun, stand by to pipe the side. Stand by to pipe the side. Shipmate going ashore.
This order has been passed on Navy ships from the early 1500s through today. Spanish, French, Dutch, English, yes, every Navy in the world has used the bosun's call and side boys to bring aboard or send ashore its officers and visiting dignitaries. The bosuns would pipe the side as the side boys lay on or lay off the lines used to raise or lower boarding platforms. This was done so that officers and visiting dignitaries would not have to climb aboard using the rat lines that the crew used. The shipmaster or captain would also extend his privilege and honor to port officials to ensure a good berth for his ship while in port. It was not uncommon for the commanding officer of the naval ship of the line to order up the jolly boat, 8 strong backs to man the oars, along the bosuns and side boys to send an old shipmate ashore to his retirement home, ashore never to sail a naval ship again. All hands on deck we passed. The crew fell in at parade rest for muster. The commanding officer would make a speech telling about the retirees' service, the great battles fought upon the open seas and victories, the storms weathered, voyages to strange and distant lands, ports of call visited, and others can only dream about. He would also speak of shipmates left behind. The bosuns would stand tall. The side boys and the crew were called up to attention, and then the retiree would step to the quarterdeck, salute the commanding officer, and request permission to go ashore. Permission granted, the retiree would step onto the platform and salute the flag he served, and then the retiree would be seated in the stern seats of the jolly boat going ashore. As the side boats lowered away the jolly boat to the boatswain's call, the ship gunner would fire a signal, salute from the ship's main battery. The United States Navy was the first Navy to provide sideboy honors to its enlisted crew. In the early to mid-1800s, enlisted men were holding retirements for their enlisted shipmates. After the Civil War, the commanding officer would take part in the enlisted retirements to show that he and the Navy recognized the contributions made by the enlisted men, and still today we heave to stop all engines, lay about smartly, drop the anchor, and stand by to pay honor to one of our shipmates, a shipmate going ashore, to honor those years served, the guidance and leadership, the expertise, and above all, the friendship that the shipmate has given the past 21 years. Petty Officer First Class, United States Navy retired, departing. Y'all can go ahead and stand up. A quick uniform shift. Without further delay, United States family, retired, departing. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Retired Petty Officer Everett and his family extend their deepest gratitude to you and all for sharing this occasion with them. Please join the new retiree and his family in the reception area for refreshments.